Good morning, everyone. Jim Laird here, joining you from Grand Pacifica, Nicaragua. It's a beautiful morning here. I mean, absolutely gorgeous. It's about 75 degrees right now with a nice breeze. I hope you had a great Christmas. This is Boxing Day for my fellow Commonwealth country folks. And I hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope you get an extra day off. So this topic is a little off topic for us. Usually we're talking about health stuff, getting outside and all these things. But this is a very relevant topic. Actually, somebody messaged me in my DMs yesterday, a young lady. And honestly, this should be self-defense tips for anyone, really, not just females. But that's what the algorithm, that's going to show up better in the search for self-defense tips for females. But this is a really interesting topic as in certain parts of the world, particularly the United States, as certain areas defund their police and do not prosecute criminals, places like San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, where they're literally just letting people do whatever they want, you're going to have more predators, so and you'll hear people that are like, I should be able to jog down the street at 3:00 in the morning and do whatever I want with no problem. Yeah, you should be able to, but there's the reality of life and the reality of nature. Like, there are going to be bad people. And so the more things you can do to not put yourself in a situation to be taken advantage of by a person with bad intentions is in your best interest. So the number one thing you want to do is make sure that you're just not an easy target. Most people that are looking for someone to take advantage of, like in a predator situation, if you look at wolves in nature, they generally go after the sick and the weak. So if you're walking down the street and you're staring at your phone, um, they really like pigtails and ponytails too. This is just all basic psychology stuff. If you look timid, if you aren't self-aware, one of the best things you can do when you're walking down the street is have your eyes up and be looking everywhere. Be very self-aware. If you're engulfed in your phone, if you have headphones in, you are an easy target. Somebody can look at you and they can come running up behind you. You have no idea that they're coming. They either grab you or they grab your purse or they grab whatever. And honestly, in these kind of situations, your valuables, your personal effects are a non. There was a video Tim Kennedy was going over. This car came screaming up on this girl. And if she would have been paying attention, she would have just basically fled. She'd have left her. She had I don't know what she was doing. I think she's in Chicago. And she had like a carry-on bag. And then she had like a wheel behind bag. And she had her purse and stuff. And this car came screaming up. And 4 dudes with guns come out and literally just steal everything off her. Luckily, they didn't steal her. They could have easily picked her up, stuffed her in a trunk, and who knows what the hell they would have done with her. But they stole her purse. They ripped all the rings off her fingers. They got everything out of her pocket. She could have, when she saw that car come running, they didn't even look at her wheel bag. They didn't care about that. She could have took off running, and it would have made it much more difficult for them to take her stuff. She could have gone into a store. She could have just made it a lot more difficult for them. But instead, she froze up. She wasn't paying attention. And by the time she realized what was happening, they were already stealing her things. And she was lucky. I mean, she should have just ran. She should have left her bag and took off. So that's the number one thing. You want situational awareness. And that's where breathing through your nose, the tongue of your roof, your mouth is so important. I bounced in nightclubs for a long time. From the time I was like 17 or 18, all the way up into my mid 30s. I did, in my 30s, I did some occasional work. I would go like, hey, I'm going to go work. And a friend of mine would call me up and say, hey, we need an extra guy. We'll give you X amount of money and, just for fun. So I would go work in a nightclub. And then I spent tons of time in Aspen doing high-end bodyguard work, security work. And 9 times out of 10, you can see what's coming ahead of time. You can look, if you're in a nightclub, you're at a bar, you're at a rave, a concert, and you're watching people, you can see what's about to happen. You can see people getting in conflicts. You can see people scoping other people out. You can see people, sneaking up behind people. And I mean, you have to be observant. And so that's really one of the number one things is when you're on the bus, when you're on the street, you're always constantly watching and looking. And if you're in any of these big US cities now, I would not, even if you're a dude, I would not be by yourself in any of these places. I mean, it's gotten really, really, really bad. I mean, there wasn't any time driving through Central America where I felt in danger whatsoever. Um, but in the United States, I mean, it's no holds barred in some of these cities now. So I would definitely make sure you don't put yourself in those situations. Simple as observing and looking people in the face. So like there was an example. I was out with Dr. Stillman and one of his college friends who's a young guy, and we were having dinner in I think we were in St. Pete, and we had dinner somewhere in St. Pete. And St. Pete's kind of busy, and he was walking down the street over here, and we were going this way, and I saw somebody locked on him. There was a gentleman who locked on him and was like literally beelining after him, like taking off at a fast walk. So I yelled, "Hey, hey," I got his attention, and I stared at him, and he started talking smack to me and accusing me of all sorts of crazy, stuff. But he was going after him, and I distracted him long enough for that kid to get away because I knew that guy was going to get him because he literally was chasing him down, and I got his attention, and I was able to thwart the situation, so to speak. And he started coming towards my direction. One of the best self-defense, obviously in the United States, you can conceal carry in a lot of places. But and a lot of people, I wouldn't recommend carrying a gun unless you really know how to use it. You need to take training, or that sucker, you could end up shooting yourself, or you can end up shooting someone else, or you can end up, in a big problem. Because when you pull that thing out, you're going to have to shoot somebody. And a lot of people just don't have the fortitude to do that. The flashlight is probably one of the best self-defense mechanisms there is. I carry this with me constantly in my pocket. If I see somebody coming up to me that's getting close and it's dark, especially down here, there's not a lot of lights. Even in Florida, even in cities with lights, you get this sucker straight in the face at nighttime in your face, you're not going to be able to see anything. So someone starts coming up, you say, "Hey, keep your distance, keep your distance." They keep coming. Boom, square in the face with the flashlight. Your other hand is free, and you can have a pen or whatever you've got, and you keep that on their eyes, and then you just get away. And if you're in the dark in a parking lot, I've shined this in people's faces in a parking lot before. It's going to take them 5 or 10 minutes to get their bearing back. So you can literally keep someone away from you with this flashlight until you can get away, and by the time you turn around and start running, by the time they figure out where they are and what's going on, you're gone, right? The idea is you want to get the hell out. You want to never let yourself get in a situation where you're in a bad space. Like, you don't want to be the macho hero guy. I mean, if you have to, if you have to get in a situation like that where you have no choice, I'm going to give you some options here really quickly. I got to work with a lot of really high level special forces guys, and they taught me some very, very, very efficient ways of taking care of situations. So say you are in a situation where somebody puts their hands on you or someone is attacking you. When they violate your space, or if they pull a weapon on you, the rules are out the window. There's no rules anymore. When someone attacks you, puts their hands on you on the street, and you generally fear for your life, there are no rules anymore. You have to put civility out of your head. There's no manners anymore. It is all out unrestricted warfare. And there's two places, people will say, "Well, knee a guy in the groin." Well, it's easy to miss that, right? When you have adrenaline. There's two ways. I don't care how big the dude is. I don't care how tough he is, how strong he is. You take your thumbs and you put them on the inside of their eyeballs, right in here by their nose, and you push as hard as you can and you pull. It'll be over. That person is going to be screaming and yelling like it's over. You bust their eyeballs. That is a guaranteed way. If you're in an emergency situation, you take the person's eyes out. The second thing you do is you punch them in the throat as hard as you can, or you grab their up in here and their trachea and you just crush with your thumbs and just crush as hard as you can. You could take the biggest, strongest guy in the world, you punch him in the throat, it's going to disable him, and then you get the hell away. So obviously those are extreme measures. But if you're ever in a situation like that, you go for the eyes, you go for the throat, and you are vicious, you're brutal, you are in it for survival if it gets to that point. But the key is to never get to that point. You never want to be there. But if you do, you have to go all in, all out. Right. And you need to, when you're walking around, you need to appear confident. You need to be self-aware so that people, if someone's going to take advantage of you, they are not going to pick the person that looks confident and is aware and looking. And if someone's looking and you look at them, you don't want to look at them in a confrontational way, but you look at them and like, I know you're here. I've acknowledged you. You nod, you smile. They're looking for somebody who's not paying attention. They're looking for someone who's not self-aware. They're looking for easy pickings. They want the weak, like the wolf. The wolf doesn't want to have to like take out they will if they have to, but they don't want to take out a strong, healthy moose because a lot of them are going to suffer. But if they get a sick one or a wounded one, so someone who's not very secure with themselves, someone who's traveling alone, those are the kind of people that they're looking for. And so flashlight, very, very good. And just being aware of your environment, getting off your phone, do not, ladies, gentlemen, if you are walking in a park, down the street, outside, somewhere, to wear your headphones. If you want to listen to something, have the phone in airplane mode, listen to like an audio book or something if you really want to. But when you're walking on the street, you need to be aware of what's going on. Like you don't need to be yapping on your phone while you're walking down the street, and somebody can walk up and just absolutely lambaste you and throw you in the back of a trunk and you don't even know what happened. So be self-aware, flashlight. And then if things get really bad, you run away first. Like if you see someone come screaming up towards you, you go the other direction as fast as you can. And then, but if you do get in a situation where someone grabs you, put your hands on you, you go for the gusto. You don't mess around. You go for the vulnerable areas, and you do it mercilessly, with a vengeance, because they have no right to violate your personal space like that. So, not a very fun topic after Christmas, but I really enjoyed the conversation I had with this young lady. But honestly, travel in groups, travel with friends, plan, be aware, and you don't want to be paranoid, but you always want to plan for the worst, hope for the best, and then always have a contingency plan just in case something happens. But most of the time, if you plan for the worst and you hope for the best, things are going to work out 99% of the time. But if you're just self-aware, and that's where the putting your tongue in the roof of your mouth, breathing through your nose is so important, because if you're doing that and not talking on your phone and not scrolling through your phone, you're going to be observant. And if you're observant of your environment, and if you're looking around at your environment, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be able to ward off most bad situations. James, Merry Christmas to you as well. My dog and I had a great time down here at Grand Pacifica. I start every day off with hanging out, playing catch on the beach. I said his name. He's stirred up. We're up here on my patio. I do my podcast from my patio up here every day. I've been doing an Instagram live from the beach every morning. That's been a lot of fun. The cell reception's good enough on the beach that I can do a live, which is pretty cool. Obviously it's like 2G here, so it's a lot less intense. And then there's maybe maybe in this whole area, like maybe 15 or 20 Wi-Fi routers, maybe. as opposed to like, when I unplug mine at night, as opposed to like being in Florida where there's like 400 Wi-Fi routers on your street. So I know that wasn't a very fun topic for after Christmas, but I thought it's very relevant for just the way things are going these days, and something a little different. So we're not just talking about getting outside, which you should do. And that being said, have yourself a wonderful day. I'm not sure if we're doing our lesson this week or not. I'll have to check with Dr. Stillman when I talk to him later today. But if we are, we'll be sending an email out notifying you how to get into that lesson. I think it's I can't remember the topic, what it's supposed to be anyways. But make sure you get on our email list so you can be, updated on our specials, updated on, what we're doing, what we have going on. We're always putting out a lot of great content. And then also if Dr. Stillman and I disappear due to the fact that, what we say is not popular. Well, it is popular. It's not endorsed by the powers that be. So we could disappear at any time. So that way, if you're on an email list, you can find where we're at. So have yourself a great day and make sure you take the time to get outside. And if you're listening on the podcast or if you're listening to this after the live, thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. Hope you have yourself a great day.